Welcome back to Mobgogh. We're on episode 25. We are in Minecraft Bedrock. I am IRKire73. We're just kind of... I think the last episode I forgot to stay on the Mobgogh sign. So, figured we'd come back here. Everything over here actually kind of got overgrown. I need to chop everything down again. But yeah, episode 25. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, bell, I don't know. Things like that. So, episode 24, I talked about making the art map. I did a few things. I realized I didn't have the correct lighting source, so I'll show that in a minute. Here's, I guess, the first thing is the map was turned this way on everything. I can't turn it now, I guess. But I realized I want to keep it this way so that north, east, south, and west are facing in the correct directions. And I went ahead and made this. Not quite centered. It was centered. It seemed centered while I was making it. And we did obviously finish the art map because that's our first art map there. It's the weird shiny thing where if you step to certain distances, you get this weird glitchy thing going on, and I'm going to make a lot of maps using this. But yeah, I did run into, getting a little hungry there, one snag while I was making everything, and that was the light source I was planning to use wasn't going to work, so I had to farm up light sources. So I went ahead and, oop, can we get there? Nope. Okay. We'll take the hard route here. I went ahead and went back to the village and terraformed this up into the correct resources so that I could, no mushrooms. No mushrooms. Basically, there we go. Well, wrong side, but I guess that'll work. Carrying picture frames and stuff. Show that for a reason. Later on, don't know if this will... There we go. So I farmed a bunch of these trees. This one doesn't even have it on them. Let's see if we can get another one. There we go. How do you work? There we go. So these are the lights that... So I farmed a bunch of this to get a bunch of those lights right there. So that actually ended up taking probably a week by itself. I think after I said it was going to be 2 weeks, I started putting down the map, and it was not that difficult. It was going to go by quick. I'm like, this is going to take way less than a week. And then I ran into that issue of lighting, so I had to change things. So yeah, did I change anything in there? I don't believe I have. I still have another portal to try to link up to the old entrance, which shows I haven't even... I'm going to look at the ground here for a minute because I don't want to give too much away. Because I went off on a little tangent of other things. We'll go down here. Alright, so this is our art map. 128 blocks by 128 blocks. I think it's like 16,000 blocks altogether, right around there. We'll put this back in our hand so you can see. Again, this faces north, which is why I wanted to do that as well. And you can see that the map is made, if you look at it, little bits of gray, little bits of black, and then orange for the light sources. The one thing that is deceptive, and I think I talked about this before, but I still want to do these two resources. This is tough, and it looks gray, but on the map it shows black. This is deep slate cobble, and it looks blacker or darker, and on the map it actually shows gray. So it's going to mess with my mind when I do build maps that this is the black line column and this is the gray line column that I need to change. And we're just kind of go back here again. So there was this section of this is where the map starts and that's where it goes, and then I had this huge section here that wasn't going to be used for anything, and I thought about putting farms in there and a few other things. I think I brought the bridge out more too. Anyways, we made a strip mall is what we did. So it's not completely complete either. Let's go to the edge of the bridge so we can see where that's at and kind of talk about that, and we'll come back to the strip mall. This area, I was thinking of a gas station. It's going to have its own entrance and exit, but obviously we're using horses and such, so I'm not sure how well that would work. Maybe it has the old gas stations, but it actually has like a little wheat field or something. Okay, this is as far as the... Okay, this is as far as it went. You can see the northeast, south, and west are kind of floating here in a sense. They were just temporary to get the map down. I'll probably use glass and make that map permanent, which is something, glass panels, which is something I forgot to do. And once that's done, they don't have to stay there. But the bridge itself, I'm thinking is going to come here, and then it's going to come this way. I thought I went further. I thought I'd already connected to this island. And somewhere out here, somewhere, somehow, thought about going that way, but I guess we just keep going this way. Somewhere, somehow in here, we're going to start building a town for the monsters. So that's going to be probably a way later deal. We're going to work on maps for a while, but we want a building that's bigger than our building to be a central point. Something, I think I had a name for it too. I don't want to call it Monster Corp, but it was something Corp. Cube Corp. If I can remember that later, maybe I'll write it down. And they're going to have like a pollution, basically a huge giant factory, skyscraper type building. And it's just going to be the first mob builder, mob spawner type thing. Anyways, we can see how big the map art is by flying over it real quick. Getting another look. Get a look at the little strip mall as well. Like I said, I haven't really went through and decorated it up much. Went ahead and had a visitor that dropped these guys off, so we got a couple of guys in the parking lot. One idea I had at one point was to actually change these out for buttons, white buttons, instead. And I was going to ask a bunch of questions. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And then I realized this is half slab. So if I put a half button here, it's going to basically do something like that where it floats. And it's not going to look right anyways. So I think this is just going to be how our parking lot is. And again, since we're going to be having animals and not cars, we'll have leads and tie them in. There is a question that I had at one point too, was I thought about, we have hedges, and we have basically the entrance ways that kind of drive in here. I'm thinking at one point recently about getting rid of a couple of these parking spots, turning them and facing them this way, and then adding one more building in here. So that's an idea. Right now we have basically 4 buildings. We'll come back to that one later. These are empty shulkers. I'm actually planning to use them on the insides to store items. So this is the first one. You can see this decoration is part of it in a sense, but there's more to that as well. Put some paintings up to look kind of like a menu up there. We're going to be putting basically food in these little cubby hole things as we go. We have some staircases for registers, a little area that I'm figuring we're going to get a couple of villagers and put them in here. This has a hidey hole spot, so we're going to fill that with water. That way we have an infinite water source. And then I believe we're going to do some potion stands in here. And then we can start to store potions on each of these shelves. And like I said, those shulkers, we dyed them brown for a reason. I will probably knock out, like, let's say this one. Maybe I'll put another one here. Or maybe I'll just put the 2 shulkers here and here. And that way we have storage for it. And the little outside tables with the umbrellas on them here. We went ahead and made them. Has a little cap on top, so the top's a little higher. I think I did 2 different umbrella types. I kind of like that one better, but at the same time, that's just a thing for now. Let's see. I put a couple ovens in here for no good reason. You can reach them, so we could use them. But yeah, we need a... Hello, rabbit. Oh, I'm carrying a carrot on me, so here, you can have a carrot. All right. Yeah, now you're nervous because I don't have a carrot on me. We'll just open those doors, kind of push you out. Off you go. Okay. Have a good day. We'll put some tables in here, but yeah, mostly it's kind of like, even though it looks like a restaurant, it's not going to have much food because for the most part I'm eating golden carrots now. But there are a couple foods that we could put in here as kind of a snack bin area. And instead of a restaurant, I'm thinking of it more of like a soda shop. So that's why it's going to be mostly potions, and it'll have different potions hanging on the walls and such like that. But, you know, even a soda shop needs some food. So that is the first shop. We'll come back to that one as the last shop. The next shop. I did go and decorate it. I guess I did throw some stuff in each of them. Same thing, we'll probably put some blocks that villagers can't get on top of, some trapdoors up here or something of the sort so they cannot escape. We'll put a couple villagers in here, and we're going to make this into a bookstore, thus the paintings of things that look like, I don't know, whatever. And we'll put books in here, basically, similar to the other one. And we'll fill this up with books that I'm probably not going to use, was my first thought. We do want to make a corner here for paper and maps. So, I don't know. I throw these up. Maybe we take these back down. But we definitely want an area for map making, along with paper making, I guess some glass panels so that we can go ahead and permatize them in a sense. And yeah, that way there's some utility going on with this building as well. And hopefully if we do get a couple villagers, we'll make them book guys and get another good book out of it. This one is a little bit of a question. So I didn't do much. I did paintings. I had never seen this painting before, so I had to keep it in here. I really wanted this painting, and then I tried to go with other things that would fit with it. So what I'm thinking is basically very similar to the other side. I'll pick these back up later, but just so that we have some visual reference, something like that. Keep some villagers in there. In a strip mall, and maybe you guys can come up with another idea. I almost always remember seeing a mattress store. So I'm thinking about having some villagers that have stick trades going on, some Fletchers basically, because we actually went ahead and made another seating area and then 2 dirt areas so that we can grow some big trees. I thought that wouldn't be bad to have the trees grow. We cut it down, get the wood, turn them into sticks, and get some emeralds in here. Then we have a way of, paying for the books next door or the food guys next door if we do food guys or whatnot. So mattress store was the first idea, basically, because that's what I see a lot at strip malls. But I am open to other ideas. It's kind of, this guy kind of made a little bit of sense, even though he looks weird. Like, he's kind of laying in a bed, and then I thought, well, this looks like furniture, I guess, in a sense, and there's a scenic view. I don't know what that is, other than a pretty cool-looking painting. Was that? That's a creeper. I have not had any visitors on this map at all. That's a little weird. I'm not sure how he got there. I'm wondering, maybe this area isn't lit up quite right. Oh, and it also leads down here. Yeah, we left basically a staircase or something to walk in here while I was trying to expand to that. So we'll just say that that's what it is. Yeah, so the other ideas I did have at one point was a clothing store or a shoe store. And then we could change things to have mannequins with armor suits on or something like that. But I thought the mattress store was a good idea. Thus, you know, the other idea of we could also make another. I'm just going to double check over here. No, see, the lights are all here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, no, they're all spaced apart correctly. Okay, off to the last building. Last building I had, we'll talk about the siding of it first. I think the very first thing I did was I put this in as a siding, and I put around the whole thing, which is what I wanted to do for a very specific reason. I should probably just talk about it. We'll just talk about it, then I don't have to try and talk in code to myself. Alright, so here's one of those maps that we just made. I want to call it static, but it's supposed to be kind of and we have an area that we can basically put more maps on the side. So we can make basically, in a sense, a little arcade cabinet. It's something I've been wanting to work on for a while. We have a lever for the coin slot there, a couple slabs for buttons. Nothing too major, but yeah, I want to make most of the games kind of 80s look, where it's mostly kind of black and white and gray. Not sure how it'll work. There's at least a couple games that I want to do, and then we can obviously do the side art. I think this bottom area would probably be mostly black, and then we could do or a solid color of some sort. But yeah, so this is our mini arcade cabinet for our arcade. And thus the reason of the questionable siding. When I remember arcades back in the day, they didn't have windows. It was pretty much you were in there, you didn't know if it's daytime, nighttime, cloudy, rainy, sunny, outside. You were just in there playing video games. But it looked really plain with just that as being all around, so made some very bright colored glass, and I thought that would be good, and I started to do it, and I got halfway, and I'm like, you know what, I don't want to make the whole thing like that. So this is the inside. I went random on the lighting in here. I'm not sure if I like it. I may tear that up and go a little more uniform, like a block every 5 blocks, you know, one of these every 5 blocks type of a thing, or maybe we do just like 3 lines of it and go one on the side, one in the center, and one on the other side. But yeah, that's what this is going to be. This has no utility. Well, I would say it has no utility purpose, but I think the main utility purpose is it's going to be basically our art museum in a sense. We're going to be putting the maps that we make on these guys. And that's, I think, about it. Yes. I might get a little water. My throat's a little funkoid here. All right. So there's a couple ideas that I had for this. Now there's classic games like Asteroid, which I think would be pretty cool. Pac-Man was one that popped in my brain early on, and there's a number of other ones. I was thinking the really low res image games, first arcade-ish type cabinets, but then something else popped in my brain. There is the movie The Last Starfighter, and it had the arcade game Starfighter. And I think it just kind of has circles in it, like you're flying in a cockpit type of a thing, and maybe it had a joystick, which we can't really put anything other than what's down here unless we make it larger. So I think this is about as far as controls go on these things. So I was thinking about making Starfighter, and I thought, well, what other games would be fictitious or had some sort of legend about it. And I know there was one spooky arcade cabinet, I think it was called Plebus, something like that, and it was this conspiracy theory arcade cabinet that probably never existed, but they believed it did. And they believed, I think, that the government was spying on kids through it or something weird like that. So I might make that. I mentioned Pac-Man before, and I believe Pac-Man originally was going to be called Puck-Man. P-U-C, or, yeah, I think it was P-U-C-M-A-N. Like he looked like a hockey puck type of a shape. So I thought about doing that. But I don't know. Oh, there was another one, too, because it's kind of a dark map, and there was obviously lots of driving games back in the day. I thought about calling one Night Driver, and it would be kind of like a spoof of Knight Rider and a driving game. I'm not sure how well the graphics would be on something like that. There's a lot of things where graphics and how am I going to draw it on this map and make it work in my head is going to be yeah. So one of my other thoughts about this map too would be it could be static for a television, just kind of sitting by itself, maybe with an antenna on top of it. So it's going to have a few uses just by itself as it is. I do actually want to do an open neon sign on top of this, and then have it to where it has, you know, basically looks like an open neon sign, you know, floating there by the door or whatnot. So we're going to try and make a bunch of utility maps for a while. I do want to try to maybe make something Van Gogh-esque out of this as well, but I'm not sure. So it's going to be a lot of time and a lot of effort and seeing what works on things. Big empty space though. So definitely have room in here. What we can do is I could basically make, let's say, a row of 3 or 4 of these stacked together to where you can't see the sides, one side on each of them. But let's say we get one arcade cabinet together, we can put 3 or 4 of them together. They look exactly like the same model. The final artwork on one side on one of them, the final artwork on one side on the other. All having basically the same mod, or maybe I change it just a little bit so there's a little bit of different variation. And then that'll help fill that out. We can either move it around or reduce it to just one later on. But yeah, if there's a old 80s-ish arcade game that you can think of, maybe a Frogger type game, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure how the graphics will be. I'm really thinking, like, I want to say Defender, but Asteroids, things like that would be nice to put on there, I think. Yeah, I think my brain has ran out of things to talk about. Trying to think if there was anything else going on here. Let's just kind of climb up here. Don't know why. Yeah, I guess that's a shorter video than I thought it would be. Not sure what our time limit is. We talked about the mattress store. I guess that's another thing that can be mentioned too. So not right now, and we'll have to get stairs, but we can do something like this for right now. We're gonna have a extra walkway to get over and up to these guys here. So that'll be how we get to our wool. Is we'll come up here, we'll probably make a fence gate instead of just a fence post. And these guys have been going crazy. I actually stole a bunch of wool, and they're filling it up again. So since I've been building the map and staying in the area, wool is just producing like crazy, which is what we need for the map. So not every color is crazy. Brown is getting really full, so I might have to take brown off of the list for them to produce. Looks like the only color. I think they're just having a hard time. I think if I grabbed some of this and started moving it around, those chests would be a lot fuller than they are currently. Let's see here. I did break away and have a couple adventures flying around again, because there's only so much staying here that I can do without going nuts. But I don't think I found anything of use. Let's fly up there, actually. I did fix the honeybee area a little bit. The hoppers that pick up the stuff that dropped, I think, only went to maybe here. And I extended them one extra tile. That way, I was ending with with a couple straggler type pieces on the edges, and so we just fixed that. There's nothing really going on here. I think I did go. Oh, I did go to the end. I don't think I really put anything. Oh, that's right. I did thin out my chest, my ender chest with the armor, so we have some extra armor now. But I did go to the end. I picked up a lot of those end rods, the ceiling lighting that we've seen in the little strip mall, and I think I pretty much used every single one plus more. So I guess if I do make another building, that's another thing that I'm gonna have to decide on, is if I go back to the end to make more or whatnot. Yeah, nothing's new on the top floor here. I don't think anything's new on the bottom either, really. We've been cooking a lot of the stone used. Oh wow, we're still cooking them, huh? Our wood's not running low. Okay, we're still cooking double stone. This was the ceiling that we used for the strip mall, in a sense. So yeah, we were just cooking more of it. And we were cooking glass, and I can't remember what else we were cooking, but lots of things cooking. I did talk about earlier that we were growing these trees over by the villager island. Do have some lights left of that, so that's not bad. We also have basically a full chest of this nether wart block and crimson wart block, or warped wart block. I used some of it for the hedges. Oh, and we have a chunk of wood on each of them as well, so that's nice. Yeah, I can't think of anything that happened. Woods aren't a big deal. I don't think I went and found any more fishing stuff. Any of that stuff, Yeah, that's pretty much it. These are all pretty much the same. Yeah, so the adventure obviously wasn't too, I did pick up some azalea leaves. I think I just don't have a home for those. Maybe I picked up, I think I did pick up a new trim. I can't remember. I know I picked up some more trim. Oh, that's something too, is we changed our trim. It was just kind of hodgepodge all over the place, so we went blue on everything. Still don't completely like it. I like it better than it was, but I'll probably change it again. Let's see. I swear there was something else. Carrots, gold. I don't think there really is. I swear I should have more of these too. The Heart of the Sea, it feels like I should have 3 or 4 of them. I don't know why I only have 1. I think I picked up more obsidian. Oh yeah, that's true. It was mostly this. So I think I stacked a little bit more stuff in here, but yeah, this is the last of our end rods right there. Yeah, I think I just picked up more blocks. It wasn't even much. Oh, maybe a few extra sets of wings. Yeah, some extra armor. Oh yeah, it was this kind of stuff. Let's see. So we picked up some phantom membranes so that we can repair these when we're 10,000 blocks away or whatnot. Filled up with more rockets. Took out a few wings so that we can just kind of focus on just a few wings at a time. We could check the gearbox. Yeah, so we simplified this down so it's a set of armor, set of armor, set of armor. I didn't have any extra arrows, so I wanted to make sure I had extra arrows. And then we have an infinity bow in here. That way when we are down to the final 2 or 3 arrows, we can just keep using those. And then we got some shields that obviously need enchantments on them and whatnot, some weapons. So we changed that up a bit. I don't think the toolbox has anything useful. I actually think I have a bunch of silver tools that need to be just used up and broken, just to make room. The only other thing I did recently in here was I went ahead and added an orange box, which was a little more expensive than I thought, but we got a bunch of wool in here since white wool was way overproducing. And we could check on that villager. The villager wanted... Oh, it's nighttime. We'll bug him anyways. So our one villager that buys the white wool was trying to buy at a high price. Sleep here so that it'll be daytime by the time we get up here, just to take a look. Yeah, so these guys, I'll probably move one of these guys over. Actually, I don't know, can they go in daylight? I'm not sure if they can go in daylight. They might have to stay in an area like that. But the zombie horses, so yeah, we put a bunch of the wool in here because he buys the wool. His prices came down, but not that much. I think I'm just going to wait until his prices come down all the way and get the most out of it. I don't need it right now anyways. So let's fly over to our animal pen. Also an area that's needs some extra attention. We could probably extend the land mass and make a better farm and definitely a better area for the animals to be in, but this is where they're at so far. The zombie horses, since they have armor on, they can go hang out at the strip mall as well. And we also have one camel and one donkey. I think it's a donkey. I don't think it's a mule. You guys, on the other hand, are just going to be in the farm somewhere. They don't need to be protected by this. It's just, I don't know. I figured it'd be nice to not have them get rained on, but it'd be nice to change that up. Bring these, maybe get rid of these and build an actual farm area for the animals. We could probably go this way too, maybe. I don't know. There's plenty to do here. The house, yeah, the fencing thing around the top just looks horrible. And I really want this to be a second-story house. I think there's going to be some terraforming going on where we destroy the mountain and make our own mountain, and we have those funny tunnels on the other side that lead to a pier that basically sees all this backside now, so it's not that great of a view anymore. See if we can go down here. So yeah, we'll either have to also terraform this and bring it down, or just get rid of this thing altogether. There's also the idea in the back of my head that maybe I make more farms over here. Like, I want all that paper, maybe I make more sugarcane farms under here. And at the same time, I just don't want things to lag out also. So, I'm not sure how I'm gonna deal with that yet. Oop. We went in the water. Alright, I think we will probably call it here in just a minute. That's closer land. Come on. Fly up from here, go land at our sign again, because why not? Yeah. I have not thought about pinball games at all. I'd have to figure out how they would lay out and how they would work with art maps. But I guess if you can think of a old video game from the 80s or whatnot, go ahead and mention it in the comments. Same with, I guess, pinball. Again, I'd have to figure out exactly how to do that for a pinball. Really looking for obscure ones though. Like instead of calling it Frogger, we'd have to call it something else and make the graphics semi similar, but not completely similar or whatnot. Yeah. Other than that, I guess have a good week, and we'll catch up with you guys later. Goodbye.